So let's talk about agentic AI. We're talking about autonomous systems that can actually plan and execute complex business tasks all on their own. And yeah, they're here. The promise of efficiency is absolutely incredible, but it comes with this huge hidden risk that frankly most companies are just not ready for. So let's dive into this challenge and look at the new kind of framework we're going to need to solve it.
Okay, let's get real for a second. Picture this. You've got an autonomous AI agent running your supply chain. It makes a call based on a faulty prediction and reroutes a massive shipment. Boom, that's a $10 million mistake. So who takes the fall? Is it the developer who wrote the code, the manager who signed off on the project, or does nobody? This isn't just some thought experiment. This is the question facing every single enterprise that's serious about AI today.
And that exact problem, that question of who gets fired, has created what we're calling the agent accountability crisis. It's this massive governance deficit where the power of these AI systems has just completely outrun our ability to control them. And this deficit really breaks down into three critical gaps that we have to address. First up, you've got the accountability gap. You see, when an autonomous agent acts, that traditional chain of command we all rely on, it just evaporates. This creates what's called a liability void, a black hole where it's basically impossible to assign any legal or ethical responsibility. For any business in a regulated industry, that's an absolute nightmare. Then there's the technical gap. Look, the tools we have, like MLOps, they're fantastic for managing the AI model itself, the training, the deployment. But an AI agent isn't just a model, it's an entire business workflow. We're trying to use tools designed for one piece of the puzzle to manage the whole assembly line. It's the wrong tool for the job. It just doesn't work. And finally, there's the socio-technical gap. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all. Governance totally falls apart when we pretend AI is just a tech problem. It's not. It's a whole system of technology, people, and processes all interacting with each other. Any solution that ignores the human side of that equation, well, it's pretty much doomed from the start. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We're left with this tangled mess of causality. And think about it. When you can't untangle who did what and why, you can't have accountability. And if you don't have accountability, you can't have trust. Simple as that. So, it's pretty obvious the old rulebook is obsolete. We need a totally new way of thinking, a big paradigm shift. We have to move away from looking at just the model and start looking at the entire workflow. We need a whole new philosophy of control. This chart makes the difference crystal clear. MLOps, it's all about model performance. A control plane, though, is focused on the entire business workflow, with the end goal of verifiable accountability. Here's a good way to think about it. MLOps is like your expert mechanic, tuning the engine to perfection. But a control plane, that's like air traffic control for your whole company, managing every single takeoff, landing, and handoff to make sure nothing goes wrong. And the guiding light for this new paradigm is a concept called HATL, which stands for Human Above the Loop. Now, this isn't about a person having to check every single little task. That would be crazy. It's about humans setting the grand strategy, defining the guardrails, and having the final, ultimate sign-off power on the really big, high-stakes decisions. You let the AI do its thing, but only within those carefully defined boundaries. Now, HATL has been a really powerful idea for a while, but it's always been more of a concept than something you could actually build. It lacked a real architecture. Well, until now. Procentic is the very first system built from the ground up to be HATL control plane. And Procentic is built as a socio-technical solution, remembering that it's about people and tech. It stands on 4 essential pillars. It starts with people, clearly defining who has sign-off authority. Then it orchestrates the process, managing the dance between humans and machines. Of course, it provides the core technology, the control plane itself. And finally, and this is so crucial, it creates an immutable data trail, a permanent record of every single action. The absolute heart of this whole thing is something called the human sign-off. This is the mechanism that actually solves that accountability gap we talked about. So when an agent wants to do something high risk, the workflow just stops. It hits a mandatory checkpoint. A designated human expert has to review it, and their approval gets captured, not just as some note in a log file, but as a secure, cryptographically verifiable transaction. And just like that, you have an unbreakable, auditable chain of command that will stand up to any legal or regulatory scrutiny. Okay, but a great concept that doesn't scale is, well, it's useless. A system that needs a human to approve everything would just create a massive bottleneck, right? Of course. That's why Procentic is designed to make governance smart and practical. And it does that with three integrated engines. First, you've got the R engine. That's for risk-based active review. The best way to think about it is like a smart triage nurse in an emergency room. It instantly scores every single task for risk. Is it low risk? Great, it sails right through, auto-approved. Is it high risk? It gets immediately routed to a human expert. This completely avoids that sign-off fatigue and makes sure your most valuable resource, your expert's attention, is focused exactly where it's needed most.
Next up is the DPE, or the Dynamic Policy Engine. This is a game changer. It basically translates your company's business rules into instructions the AI can actually understand. And you know what that means? It means your non-technical teams, like your legal and compliance folks, can update the rules for the AI agents in real time without writing a single line of code. It really is a living, breathing rulebook for your AI.
And finally, because let's face it, sometimes things still go wrong, there's the ARE, the Automated Remediation Engine. This is all about operational resilience. If an action, even one that was approved, is later found to be a mistake, the ARE can automatically trigger a compensating action, like issuing a refund to reverse a wrong payment. It's basically your enterprise-grade undo button. So that's the architecture. That's the theory. But what does this all mean in the real world? How does this actually translate into impact? Well, this is where Procentic makes trusted AI adoption a reality, especially in the industries that need that trust the most. Let's look at what this makes possible. In finance, you get that verifiable, legally sound sign-off you need to act on a multi-million-dollar fraud alert. In healthcare, it creates that critical, auditable link between an AI's diagnostic suggestion and the clinician's final official decision. Or think about HR, where it gives you the audit trail you need to prove your AI screening tools aren't creating bias. In these fields, mistakes aren't just expensive, they can be life-altering. And this is exactly why this stuff matters on a global scale. Perceptic's features aren't just good ideas. They are specifically designed to give you the technical proof you need to comply with major regulations. Look at the EU AI Act or GDPR. The human sign-off feature, that directly satisfies the requirement for human oversight. The immutable log, that generates the automatic recording of events they mandate. This isn't just about good governance anymore. This is about mandatory check-the-box compliance.
So, here's the bottom line. Getting an AI to do a task, that's automation. And you know what? That's becoming the easy part. The real challenge, the next frontier, is achieving high-trust autonomy, where you can confidently let powerful agents make critical business decisions on their own. Procentic provides the framework to make that a reality. So the only question left to ask is your organization ready for it?